Hello, malt mates. I'm Ralphie. Welcome to the Whisky Bothy and welcome to Ralphie Review 1063 in an ongoing series of 15-year-long whisky reviews. Because when we engage with something of quality in our life and we keep the experience controlled and moderate, well, good things happen. It improves the quality of our life. That's just it's the natural order of things. We'll put it that way. And the natural order of things goes like this. We start at the beginning and we experience something which triggers a response from us that we want to experience it more because there is a certain quality about it. And therefore we continue on that journey. And as we do, we incrementally learn more and more about what we're enjoying, why we're enjoying it, how we're enjoying it, when it's better than we expect, when it's not better, when it's worse than we expect, and the reason why. It all adds up. And this certainly goes for whisky. And this is a good example of one of these whiskies where we have the experience and it gives us a lift. It gives us a positive response, an endorsement for our points of reference, our smell, our taste, our general satisfaction with the experience, not just of the flavours, but of the sensations, the completeness, the calibre of the cask influence, the quality of the professionalism that's gone into producing the product and then delivering it out into the market, non-pretentious, no BS, no excessive, disingenuous marketing, because the majority of marketing is disingenuous. I think we know that. We do live, after all, in far more cynical times. And deservedly so. There's a reason for that. And nothing restores our faith in Mother Nature better than a good dram. I'm going to review 12-year-old Kilkerran for you. It's a Campbeltown malt. I last reviewed a Kilkerran in review 1042, which isn't that long ago, but it's one of their small batch, heavily peated series, and it represents very good value for money for a most convincing and authentic, heavily peated single malt experience. So good, go look for it, malt mates, if you haven't already discovered it. But prior to that, in my review 907, which was in December 2021, I did review an earlier edition version of Kilkerran 12-year-old, and I rated it very highly. In fact, I gave it 90 out of 100. However, that was the old marking system, so we're not quite going to reach those dizzy highs this time. But let me reassure you, I will be giving this a very solid and decent malt mark for a simple reason. Not only am I thoroughly enjoying it, not just the quality of the flavour, but the calibre of delivery, and I'm going to dwell on that a little bit in this review. But also, it won Best Value Whisky 2024 in the OSWAs, that's the Online Scotch Whisky Awards. And you'll find, just do a quick search, oswa.co.uk, or just go into my description box below and you'll get an immediate connection to the OSWA page. And the OSWAs are a democratic, global, voter-led assessment of what's the best of whiskies, particularly Scotch whiskies. And Kilkerran is a very deserved winner. It comes from Glengyle Distillery, but for legal reasons, the distillery can't name the brand after the distillery itself. The distillery lies immediately next door to Springbank Distillery in Campbeltown. Now, let me give you advice here. keep an eye on the Campbelltown region of Scotch whisky, because there's very interesting things happening there at the moment. There is, in the foreseeable future, 2, possibly 3 more distilleries opening in Campbelltown or around Campbelltown, and in doing so, it will basically double the number of distilleries within that region. It's also interesting to note that in the Campbelltown region, you have the highest percentage of all the regions in Scotland of integrity delivered whiskies. Not just from Springbank, but also from just across the road at the other side of town, from the Glen-Scotia distillery, which for a long, long time was completely off people's radar, for the simple reason it was wildly neglected by the previous owners. However, under new ownership, it is most certainly coming back to life, and the quality of spirit they're now making at that distillery is superb. So keep an eye on Glen-Scotia distillery. But let's come back to Glengyle distillery and the versions of Kilkerran. I'm going to basically smell and taste this for you, give a little bit of commentary. I'll give you a malt mark, but I also want to kind of fill in with a little bit more perspective as to what's going on here. And it's very, very important for whisky drinkers in particular who have already started and have a few years of experience under their belt and are taking things further. Let's start with the nose. Now, a gentle roll. I don't like all this shaky stuff, you know that. How's the fire doing? Yeah, but I'm looking for some flames out this fire. Well, I'm getting plenty of smoke. Anyway, we'll get the flames now. It's a slow burner tonight. That's better. Oh, see when you have a dram with an open fire, well, a closed fire that's burning biofuel, the presence of that living flame really helps the experience. If you don't have a fire where you are, at least have a couple of candles burning. If you have a wee cluster of candles, or even night lights, maybe about half a dozen night lights in a wee bundle or in a wee pyramid, there's something about the authenticity of a living flame really subliminally helps in the appreciation of a single malt. I'm just talking purely from personal experience over the decades. So if you want to check it out, it'll be very, very easy and cheap to do so. See if it actually works. Back to the nose here. It's wonderfully viscous and oily. It's a dense nose that doesn't give up much initially, but you know there's a lot there. Then you roll the spirit round the glass, you look at the rim, right, round the glass, and you see what's called the coat line. That's the border between the wet part of the glass and the dry part of the glass. And this is thick, it's holding, and then considering the age of the whisky, which is 12, it's official, it's valid, you're getting legs and drops, pear drops, running down, pear type shaped drops, running down the inside of the glass, slowly and methodically, and there's a real density. This shows in the glass like a much older whisky that's had more time in wood. But the reason this is happening is the integrity of delivery. And I can't stress this enough. Many of you are already aware, but there's no harm in the occasional reminders. This 12-year-old Kilkerran is bottled at 46%. All we have to do is turn the bottle round, look at the back label, and we can see clearly, without the need of a magnifying glass or going on a treasure hunt, that it's not chill filtered and it's no added colouring. The majority of Scotch whisky, by the way, has added colouring. In fairness, blended whisky suits added colouring. It homogenises and contains the experience for more passive consumption. But that's not what we're looking for with single malts. We're looking for proactive consumption. We're looking to be engaged, more engaged in the experience. In other words, we are open to the conversation that the whisky provides to us. And when you see any Scotch single malt, which is self-evidently a natural colour and doesn't look like it has a fake tan, from the chemicals added, and yes, it's chemical. E150A is a chemical. Don't kid yourself. Don't listen to the experts. Don't listen to the brand ambassadors. They're there to sell you product. I'm here to share the experience, my experience of buying product. There's a difference, big difference. I've paid for this. I bought this last November at the Good Spirits Company in Glasgow. And some of you have already noticed that it's the old style of bottling. So you may see Kilkerran in a shorter, dumpier, I don't have an example here, but a Springbank style of bottling. And that's just the more contemporary presentation of the whisky. Essentially, it's still the same ongoing small batch single malt. Nothing wrong with the quality, it's only the shape of the bottle that's changed. This is the old-fashioned one, and that's fine by me. It's what I could buy in the shop in November 2024 when I bought it. Back to the nose, it's had a bit of time to open up. I've coated the inside of the glass, so now, before I add a drop of water, we're getting a little chase off, and I'm smelling the whisky from here. It has a delightful, honeyed, fresh, clear, slightly floral vegetal note, clearly with vanilla, and most certainly with an ambient marzipan stroke frangipan note to it. In other words, almond. It's very elegant. There's the mildest of gingery tangs and the softest of sultanas. The nose is opening up now. As I say, it's a minute in the glass for each year in the cask, and don't you forget it, because I'm just telling you. Simples. First taste. Oh, bright, fresh, gingery, sour, beautiful lemon and grapefruit sour, slight banana note, peach notes, profound peach notes. Super clean in the palate. It just bright and explodes, citrusy, totally citrusy. You don't get the citrus on the nose, you do get the citrus in the palate. And then it just carries on. Wonderful stuff. I'm going to add some water now. When you get an integrity 5 millilitres will do. When you get the integrity of the delivery, unchill filtered and natural colour, you will always get more out the experience of whatever is in there. 46% non-chill filtered makes a good whisky better and a bad whisky worse. It's just the way it goes. Excuse me, we've got incoming. Right, you. Bribery. Could you get your little catty furry bottom out the way of the camera? You're upset. You're putting off my viewers. I don't want my viewers frightened by your skanky bottom sticking in the camera. It's putting them off their dram. Billy the cat. Always the opportunist. He's the outdoors one. Where was I? Kilkerran 12-year-old? Let's crack on with it. I've now added 5 millilitres of water. What I'm already aware of is the richness of the sensations here. It's not just the flavour. There is beautiful, soft, complex, sour, bitter fusion. There is the tiniest little bit of saltiness in the background, but not much, and a delightful, soft, vanilla-based umami or savoury grain note. And this is just such an old school experience. I remember tasting independent bottlings of whiskies from Cadenheads and Signatory back in the 1990s that were kind of like this. And they were just, those are the ones I remember. I don't remember the supermarket bottlings. Well, apart from the Springbank, I got it £23 a bottle from a supermarket called Waitrose in Glasgow. They reduced it because it wasn't selling. Seriously, I'm not making this up. Back in the early 2000s, Springbank had a contract with a supermarket to try and sell their whiskey. Yeah? And then the supermarket couldn't sell the whiskey, so they discounted it. How times have changed. And I'll tell you why. Because people's expectations and palates and awareness and knowledge has changed. Why? Simples. The internet. Am I wrong? Final thoughts on this dram here. A little bit of Scotch mist creeping in there. Not a lot, but we'll see more shortly. Nose. Fresh, zesty, slightly herbaceous and floral. Honeysuckle. Slight lily notes. Beautifully soft, complex grain. Taste. Zesty, astringent, super fruity, complex, subtle, delicious barley sugar sour notes, grapefruit, soft peach, slight banana. There's a lot going on there. This is a complex signature for any distillery, and I am loving it. I tell you what, it's an endorsement for the value of democracy, where the online get off. You've had your treats. Now, hey, careful. 85 out of 100. And all credit to the online community voting this bottling in the Oswes as the best value whisky for 2024. A very deserved winner. Pop back again for Ralphie Review 1063 Extras, in which I will be talking about something relating to this. But no spoilers, you'll have to watch to see. Bye-bye.